Hello and welcome to another video on cross-border payment. So in the couple last video, what I have done is to, first ask ChatGPT to develop a roadmap about how to learn in an efficient way cross-border payments uh, as an advanced English user or English speaker. So ChatGPT output this, right? So the week one is the foundation of cross-border payment. The week two, cross-border payment process. And week three is emerging trends and advancements. And the continuation, which is practical applications to get more. So once I know all the theory, it is time to put that in practice. And the last day, day 21, is review and reflect everything that you have learned. Uh, okay. Uh, Honestly, I don't think I will be able to do this in 3 weeks, especially because I'm just dedicating a small amount of time, not an hour as I mentioned, but 15 minutes. So it will take longer to that. But again, the compound effect throughout the days and be consistently here will improve my knowledge about that as well as my communication skills. Uh, and that's what I did over the couple past videos. So first, I look at the week one foundation of cross-border payment and understand what cross-border payment is, as well as look at the different sources according to Wise and Stripe. So Stripe mentioned that yes, this cross-border payment of sending or receiving payments across border can be challenging. It can be complex, especially if you don't know how to do that. As well as you have to follow some regulations across different countries, and you need to know how to navigate risk. However, and despite all of this challenge, business and individuals looking for or they're taking this approach because they want to expand to new markets, reach to new customers, and diversify their revenue stream. So that's great because that's the whole point of the reason why I'm looking at this, and I am providing my value as a software developer, particularly with web technologies, and recently now with Shopify. Great. So they mentioned that with the right payment system or with the right payment methods, as well as the strategy, business can reduce costs, increase cash flow, and accelerate growth. So we'll explore here the various types of cross-border payments, as well as the trade-off and how is the process of receiving and sending cross-border payments. So Wise mentioned that yes, this meant this involve the cross-border payment involved is the movement of funds between borders, between national borders. Uh, it doesn't involve is the customer or merchant's location. What matter here is the business location and where that card to pay was issued or was emitted. So with that distinction, okay, this is important to understand, especially when you're gonna pay for something with your credit card or any card. You need to remember which country uh, first, which institution issue your card based on your geographical location, based on your country, okay, and where you're gonna use that card to pay that. Okay, so because of that, now the day two is so once you know what cross-border payment is, so it is time to learn more about the types. So the type are, you have wire transfer, which are electronic, is an electronic transfer funds between different banks or financial institutions. And I want to make a pause here because they mentioned something about the financial institutions. And financial institutions exist according to Investopedia, which is something that I need to put here. So financial institution. So financial institutions, like that. Different type of financial institution. Okay. But here, table of contents. So yeah. So according to Investopedia here, all right. So according to Investopedia here, this is exactly what Investopedia mentioned. Okay. You say, well, it's Investopedia. So that according to Investopedia here, so financial institutions exist to provide lending, deposits, or a variety of deposits, lending, and investment products, whether it's to business or individuals, also both. Okay, but that's the whole point of this financial institution. Okay, they exist to provide a wide variety of lending, deposits, and investment products, whether it's from individual, business, or both. And this distinction is something crucial because it will allow me to move on the next topics, which is example of financial institutions. Okay, so financial institution. So while some financial institutions focus on providing service and accounts to general public, others are more likely to serve only certain customers with more specialized offering. Very, very important. So while some financial institutions, okay, so while some financial institutions on provide focus on providing service to the public, service and account to for the general public, others others are more likely mhm, to serve others are more likely to serve only certain consumers. So all others are more likely to serve only other certain consumers with more specialized service. Consumers with more specialized service. Okay, like that. All right. Okay. So while some financial institutions focus on providing while some financial institutions focus on providing service and account for the public, there are others are more likely to serve certain consumers with more specialized service. So the type of financial institution range from banks and credit unions to investment banks and brokerage firms to mortgage lenders, which is something important to describe here. Okay, so the types of financial institutions. When I click here, investing here, what does the fee at the investment bank mean? Financial institution group. Okay. Financial institutions like banks and insurance companies provide their clients with expertise and advice to help them on their path to a sound financial future. But where does a financial institution go when it needs advice itself? But where a financial institution go when it needs advice itself? That's where financial institution group come into picture. But what is exactly is a FIG and what it does? Okay. So the type of financial institution first range from banks. Range from banks and credit union, banks and credit union to investment bank and brokerage firms. Brokerage firms. Okay. To mortgage lender. To mortgage lender. Oh my god. Okay. The game is getting real. The game is getting real, mother. To know which financial institution is most appropriate for serving specific needs, learn more about the different types of institution and their purpose. But again, the type of financial institutions range from bank and credit unions, something that I'm not quite familiar with, bank and credit unions. So example of credit union examples, okay? 7 best credit union in 2023, okay? Allianz Consumer Credit Union, Connexus, PenFed, Service Credit Union, School First, Bisu, Interesting. Credit Union. Interesting. Advantage of credit union versus bank. Requirement of membership. Fewer locations, lower catch, limited product and service. Less flexibility. Insurance on credit unions, Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, credit unions. Interesting. Yeah, they're not that popular. That's one of the reasons why you barely hear about them. You know, credit unions, Alliant, Blue, Consumer Creditor Union. Interesting. Okay, credit unions to investment banks. So investment banks, okay, to investment banks. So example, investment banks. Okay, global investment bank include J.P. Morgan, Chase, and Goldman Sachs. Mhm. Mhm. PA ratio, price per earning ratio, return on equity, dividend yield, price per earning, return on equity, dividend yield, J.P. Morgan and Goldman Sachs. Interesting. But again, investment banks, exactly. Let me put here some example here. So the type of financial institution rent from banks. So example, bank examples. Okay. Uh, bank examples. hmm Bank has existed since at least the 14th centuries. Brick and mortar and online banks. I just want to know some examples here. Retail banks, commercial or corporate banks, investment banks, central banks, bank versus credit union. So this is something interesting because you also have type of banks, investment banks, central banks. Okay, so you have from, which is funny, it's like they mention here the type of financial institution rent from banks and credit union, which is less popular, to investment bank such as JP Morgan, mhm, such as JP Morgan, JP Morgan, Chase, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Chase, JP Morgan Chase, and Goldman Sachs, Citigroup, Bank of America, Credit Suisse, and Deutsche Bank. Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan Chase, Goldman Sachs, Goldman Sachs. So JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Morgan Stanley. Okay, Morgan Stanley, Citigroup, Bank of America, Bank of America, Credit Suisse, and the Deutsche Bank, and Deutsche, Deutsche, Jesus fucking Christ, what the fuck do you write? Deutsche, Do, Deutsche Bank. Okay. Interesting. Holy hell, nigga. And brokerage firms. Example of brokerage firms, please. Okay? Example of brokerage firms. Okay, brokerage firms such as Interactive Brokers, Fidelity, Webull, Merrill, JP Morgan Management. Okay, they are interesting. They are brokerage firms. Brokerage firms. Interactive Broker. Fidelity. Webull. Merrill, a Bank of America company, Merrill, 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 JP Morgan, Mm-hmm. T Ameritrade, which is another. TD Ameritrade. Robinhood. Robinhood. Brokerage firms. This is a financial institution, my friend. Holy fudge. Okay. All right. To mortgage lender. Lender examples. Examples. No. That's right. Best mortgage lenders. PennyMac, NBCK Bank, guaranteed rate. I barely know about them. Veteran United Home Loans, Navy Federal, Bank of America. Really? Interesting. Mortgage lenders. Bank of America. It's because Bank of America is a lender. It's a mortgage lender. Mhm. Interesting. Mortgage lender, Bank of America. Okay. So Bank of America. Okay. PennyMac. NBCK. PennyMac. PennyMac. NBCK. Interesting. Very, 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 very interesting, mon ami. Okay. All right. All right. Interesting. So, just to recap, right? The reason why I'm looking here at the type of financial institution is because one of the type of cross-border payment, which is wire transfer, an electronic fund transfer between different banks or financial institutions, okay? And financial institutions exist, according to Vesopedia, to provide a wide variety of lending, deposit, and investment products to individual or business or both, right? So to understand a little bit more about the types of financial institution that depend of them, they can is provide service. They can be provide accounts and service to the public or to specific customers, specific consumers. Uh, so you had from banks, central banks, for example, to the central banks or banks, and credit union, which is less known. All right. So credit unions to investment banks such as JP Morgan Chase, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Citigroup, Bank of America is another investment bank used then here, right? Investment bank, Credit Suisse and Deutsche Bank, as well as brokerage firms such as Interactive Brokers, Fidelity, Webull, Merrill, TD Ameritrade, Robinhood, they are broker first, there are financial institutions, okay, to mortgage lenders. So Bank of America is one of them, PennyMac as well as NBCK for that. So that'll be all for this video. Take care. Bye bye.